If you've been watching my channel for any length of time whatsoever, you know that I've always said that Discord is one of the greatest tools to help you build your Rust community. So giving your players a way to link their Rust experience with your Discord community is a really great way to reward those players for becoming a part of your community. And of course, there's a multitude of different ways that we can actually physically do that linking process. And as the days go by, those processes are getting better and better. And of course, me being who I am, I always want to bring you the latest and greatest ways of doing things. And today is no exception. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rust Admin Academy, where I'm teaching you everything that you need to know about owning and operating a successful Rust server. On this channel, I do plugin reviews and tutorials, plus I want to give you all of the tips and tools that are going to make your Rust server ownership so much easier. If you're brand new to my channel, consider subscribing so that you stay up to date on everything that we're working on and to get the latest updates on the Rust development world. I'll remind you a couple of times throughout the video to hit that like button if you're enjoying what you're watching, so please remember to do so. All right, let's get on to today's video. So the method that I'm going to show you today for linking your Rust server with your Discord server is, of course, Discord Link. It's available from codefling.com for $15 US. So there's a couple of different steps that we need to take in order to make this work. There's a couple of things that we have to pre-arrange before we can actually get started. And if you've ever set up a Discord bot before, this is going to feel a little bit similar. But for those of you that this is the first time, you're going to need this step-by-step process. I'm going to show you right from the very beginning, right to the very end, and show you every step along the way. So there's essentially 4 different things that we have to take care of in order to put this all together. We have to download the bot directly from the CodeFling website, which is also going to come with a plugin that we have to install on our server. And then we have to go over to the Discord developer portal and we have to build an application, which will then create us a bot that we need to invite to our Discord server. And then the 4th thing that we have to do is we have to decide, are we going to host this bot locally on our local network, or are we going to pay for a hosting site so that we can have this bot online all the time and not cost us any resources at home? Both of those options, very viable. So if you're not looking to spend any money on hosting a Discord bot, you don't have to. You can do this at home. On today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to do it on a hosted bot. So of course, if you were to ask me, I would suggest you head on over to icehost.com and pick up a Discord bot from them. And of course, because this is Amino's intellectual property, I don't mind telling you about his bot hosting company, botreaper.com. Both of those sites are reasonably priced as far as hosting Discord bots. The only difference between the two of them is on one of them, you're supporting me, the guy that you're looking at and listening to right now. On the other one, you're supporting Amino directly. Totally up to you. I won't judge either way. Like I said before though, if you don't want to pay for a host, you definitely don't have to. You can host this locally on your own network. And in fact, I've covered that process on previous videos. So after you've used the link in the video description down below and it's taken you to the CodeFling site where you can purchase and then of course download the bot directly from them, you of course would then click on this download button, which is going to give us the zip file that we need to get started. You of course are going to end up with a zipped folder looking just like this. We're going to extract this folder into this location, and then you'll be left with an actual folder that's called Discord Link. Going into that folder, you're going to see a couple of things that you're probably not used to seeing before. First of all, we've got the actual Discord bot right here in that other zipped folder. Plus we have the plugin that we have to install on our Rust server in order for this to all work properly. And it is important to note that this plugin will work on Oxide as well as Carbon. I actually tested it on Carbon kind of by accident, but I'm glad that I did, because if I tested it on Carbon and it worked, I know for sure that it definitely works on Oxide as well. So just for clarification here, I've got my bot that's hosted on botreaper.com on the left hand side, and then I've got my local file folder with all of the files that I've now just downloaded. So we're just going to take this zipped folder, the Discord Link bot, and we're going to leave it zipped up, and we're going to drag and drop it into the files section of our Discord bot. So let's go into the file section over here on the left hand side, and then I'm just going to simply drag and drop that file over just like that. And then we just click on the 3 buttons on the right hand side here, and we can click on unarchive, and then we can just delete the original zipped folder. So these are all the files that you're going to need for your bot to actually operate on your hosted server, or if you decided to do this locally, you're going to end up with these same files. And of course, all we need to do from here is actually go in and configure this bot, but we're going to do a couple of things first before we dive into all of that. So the next section of video is going to be dealing with how to actually build an application and build a bot on the Discord developer application portal. It's a video that I've recorded for previous videos in the past. I'm just going to inject this section right here so it looks like an entire new video. It's not, so make sure you pay attention to the end of it, because all of those are very important steps. Hey everyone, if you happen to just stumble across this video, I'm going to show you the step-by-step process to get a Discord bot built and invited into your server. If you were directed here from another video to get these steps, make sure that you go back to the original video so that you can finish up whatever project it was that sent you over here. I'm just creating this video right here because I use these exact same steps on so many different types of projects. All right, so step number one is obviously you need to navigate over to discord.com/developers/applications. Link is in the video description down below. Now you may actually need to sign in order to get to the Discord developer portal. Just use your Discord credentials, same as you would if you were logging into Discord normally. This will bring you to a page that looks similar to this. Obviously, you probably won't have a bunch of bots already in there. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, I'm not sure. But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna click on the top right-hand corner, this purple button that says New Application. Step number two is giving your application a name. Now you can essentially name this whatever you want. There's essentially no rules here. The only thing that you can't have in this name is anything to do with Discord. So it's not like you could call this application Discord bot. That wouldn't work. It won't allow you to do that. Just make sure you name it something that is applicable to whatever the project is that you're building this bot for. And of course, you're definitely going to want to go over the developer terms of service as well as the developer policy. Once you've read both of those documents, you can of course click on this checkbox indicating that you have read both of those documents and then click on Create. This is going to bring you to the settings page for your entire application. This isn't your bot yet. This is the entire application. And for most of you that are watching this video, the application itself doesn't do you much good. Some important points that you might need to make note of is your application ID and then your public key. Now, that all being said, that is very private information and you shouldn't allow anybody to see that ever. And so obviously just know that once this video goes public, this information is going to be deleted. This application will no longer exist. And if you want to give your application an icon, you can definitely do that here. Click on this button right here, and it will allow you to upload an image that will be the icon for the entire application. You will also have an opportunity to change the icon for your bot itself and not the application. This just helps you kind of organize things on that screen that you saw a minute ago. So step number three is heading on over to the left-hand side there, and we want to click on this middle button called Bot. Now, I obviously already have a bot set up on this application, but what you should be seeing is a blue button that says Add a Bot to this application or Add Bot, something like that. And if you have 2FA set up on your Discord account, it's going to ask you for your 2FA authentication code. Once you've successfully put in your 2FA code, it's going to bring you to a page that looks similar to this. Now, this is where we get to actually design the bot that you're actually going to see in your Discord server. So you can give it a different name. You can obviously change its icon like we said a minute ago. And if you scroll down just a little bit, you're going to see this section called Privileged Gateway Intents. Now, for most of us, none of this information is going to make any sense. The only important thing that you need to know is that for most applications that you're going to see on my channel, you have to toggle on all of these three gateway intents. So your toggles are all going to be off by default, and you obviously want to make sure that these are all turned on, and then you're going to be prompted to save those settings. Another really important thing that we have to do on this page is acknowledge the bot token. This is the identifier of the bot that any application that you're here seeing this video for is going to need. Now, something really important that I want you to acknowledge. Once you've reset the token, it's going to display up on the screen one time. If ever you need to retrieve that bot token again, you can't. You have to reset it. You can't retrieve an existing bot token. So what I suggest you do, if you're going to be using this same bot on a multitude of different applications, make sure you jot down that bot token somewhere, put it in a notepad, put it in a secure location, put it somewhere where only you know where it's going to be, but somewhere where you can easily reference it if you needed to on another project. It's incredibly important that you don't let this bot token get out into the public because it basically allows whoever has access to that token, they can take over your bot and do whatever they want with it, which can be anything from something as meaningless as the exact same thing that you're doing, or they can do malicious things which will actually get you banned off of the developer portal. Have I made it clear enough how important it is to make sure you don't share your bot token with anybody? I hope so. If ever you do need to get your bot token again, all you have to do is click on this purple button, Reset Token. It's going to ask you for your 2FA authentication if you have that set up, which if you don't, you should, and then it'll display another bot token for you. So now that we have all that set up, the next thing that we need to do is actually invite this bot into our Discord server. And to do that, we go over here and we click on the OAuth 2 menu. It'll drop down and it'll bring us to the URL generator. It's this URL that we need to use to invite this bot to our Discord server. I think I started out this video saying step 1, step 2, step 3. Not really sure what step we're on anymore. I seem to have lost count. So you're going to see a dot matrix here, and probably not a lot of this is going to make any sense to you. But the one thing that I do need you to do for most of the applications that I will have sent you here for is check this box right here next to bot. Now the next dot matrix, we can of course go through and select which things we want our bot to be allowed to do. It's just easier to give it full administrative privileges, and then you don't have to worry about the bot running into any complications with not having a certain permission to do something. Once you're done with all that, it's going to generate you a URL down at the bottom of the screen. We can just click on the purple button that says copy, which is probably behind me. Yes, of course it is. And then we can just open up a new tab in our web browser, just paste it in that URL and then hit enter. It's going to ask you which server you'd like to invite this Discord bot into. If you have admin perms on a multitude of different Discord servers, it's going to show you a drop-down list. Just make sure you pick the correct server that you actually want this bot being invited to. Once you select which server you want your bot to actually go into, it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to do this? And are you sure you want this bot to have admin privileges? We want to do a click, click, click and get that bot into the server. Once you've completed the invitation process, it's going to appear in your Discord server. It's going to go into the offline section because we haven't actually assigned it a task to do yet. As soon as you assign it a task and it starts doing whatever job it is that we've told it to do, it will come online and start doing that job. So that's how you get a Discord bot from non-existence all the way to invited into your server, ready to do whatever task it is that we're going to assign it to. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped out. If it did, you should probably shoot me one of those thumbs up. Now head on back over to the other video that sent you here in the first place and finish up your project. Alright, so now that we have our Discord application built, as well as the bot that's now attached to it, it's time to start transferring some of that information from the Discord developer portal into our actual bot configuration file. And trust me, I recognize the fact that I talk about this bot and that bot and that bot, and they're all totally different things, but we're talking about the same project. So we've got our hosted like bot container, which is where we put the bot that we've downloaded from Amino. And then we've also got the bot that we've built on the Discord application portal. It gets a little bit confusing and a little bit messy. I totally understand that. I'm just hoping that it comes across clear enough so that everyone stays on track. So we're going to be getting information from the Discord developer portal and transferring that information into the hosted Discord bot that in my case I have on Bot Reaper right now. So first things first, of course, we need the bot token, and that's available from the Discord developers portal. And like I said on the previous section that you just watched, unless you wrote this number down or saved it somewhere safe, you'll have to reset it. So we're going to click on reset token. And if you've done this in the past, it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's going to make this bot not work wherever this existing token is because it resets it. So yes, of course, we want to do that. It's going to ask us for our 2FA, and then we can just copy that information and we can take this directly over to the configuration file and just pause that in place. And of course, it's important that I say that once you see this video live, that bot token is no longer going to be valid. So don't even try to steal it and try to do something bad with it because it's not going to work. The next thing we need is the Discord server ID. So of course, go over to your Discord and right click on the title in the top left-hand corner, and you should have a copy server ID right here. If you don't have that option right there to copy the server ID, it means you're not actually in developer mode. In order to do that, click on the gear icon on the bottom left-hand corner next to your name. It'll bring up your settings for your own personal profile. Go into the advanced section and make sure you turn on this toggle right here called developer mode. Once you have that, right click on your title in the top left-hand corner, and of course, click on copy server ID. And then we can just take that over here and paste that in right there. Now the Steam API key, this is sometimes a point of contention with a lot of people in my comments, and I totally understand that. So I'm going to put a link to where you can get a Steam API key in the video description down below if you don't already have one. If you do already have one, you would still click on that same link, and instead of it showing you how to get one, it's going to show you what yours is. And I understand that they make it seem like you have to have some sort of complicated process in order to get a Steam API key, but that's totally not true. And the instructions, if you actually read those instructions, it tells you how to go about getting it. So once I have my Steam API key, which I'm going to go do, and I'm going to do it off of screen because I don't want anybody to have access to this. You'll never see that line again. I'm going to do my very best to make sure that I don't show it on video so that somebody can't steal my Steam API key. All right, now that that's done, we get to start going into how to customize what this bot is actually going to do, how it's going to function inside of our Discord server. So of course, we can customize what the embed links are going to look like when players connect to your server and when they disconnect from your server. What is the bot status going to be underneath the bot, you know, like when it's in your Discord server, what it's going to say it's doing. And then we get into the actual linking option. So this is where we get to define what things are going to look like, what channel we want to be sending our players to in order to actually submit their code to link the two things together. So let's just start doing this step by step. So first of all, I've just created a category here called Discord link video because I want it separated from the rest of the things that I do in this Discord. You of course can have this set up however you want to have it in your Discord server. So we're just going to have one channel called Discord linking. And while we're here, we might as well create another channel called Discord linking log or link logs or whatever you want to call it. It's just a place where it's going to store all of the links and unlinks that occur on your server. We'll just call it link log for now. So going back to the configuration file, we have to define which channel we want the player to actually link their Steam with your Discord server. So obviously we're going to go to the Discord linking channel. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to right click on that and click on copy channel ID. Take that back over to the bot, and we're going to replace this section right here called channel ID. Now, the reason why Amino has this set up in here twice is you could set it up to have multiple different channels where they can actually do their linking. If you're only going to have one, which is exactly what I'm going to do in this specific instance, you'll want to delete this section of that line so it's not looking for another channel anymore. You can't leave the placeholder inside the configuration file. It'll make it so your bot doesn't actually fire up. Now, the rest of this is just the embed information that's going to be displayed in that very same channel, telling your players what steps to do in order to link their Steam with your Discord server. You can change this up however you want. You're also going to see what it looks like by default when we're finished. Now we need to decide what role they're going to have inside of our Discord server after they've linked their Steam account with your Discord server. So that could be anything from Discord linked or Rust linked or connected. You could literally call this whatever you want. It's just a role that's going to get applied to that player after they've linked up. So that can come with permissions, that can come with different titles, that can come with a plethora of different things that you can do in your Discord server to make those players stand out amongst those that haven't linked together. So let's go back over to our Discord server. Let's go into settings and then into roles, and let's create a new role. We're just going to call this linked, nothing fancy. And we're going to display these roles separately from other members. And now we want to right click on that new role that we've now created and copy role ID. Take that back over to our configuration file, and we're going to place that in there. And of course, the same rule applies here. If you don't want to have another role in here, we have to delete that section of the configuration file. You don't want to leave that placeholder there. I guess it's also important to say that you can have as many roles as you want there. Just follow that same syntax if you were adding more than the 2 that this comes with by default. Now we're getting into the log section. Where do we want to keep all the information if players are linking and unlinking their Steam from your Discord? So a couple of minutes ago, we created a channel called link log. We're just going to copy that channel ID like that, and we're going to take that over here, and I'm going to place it in both the link and the unlinked section. If you wanted to have a different channel for each one of those functionalities, you can definitely do that. Just make sure you put the correct channel ID in there so that it makes sense. You can also set it up so that if the player in your Discord server is a Nitro booster, and they've boosted your server, of course, they can get another group assigned to them inside your Rust server, showing that off as well. Or let's say you have perks that are assigned to that. Don't worry, we're going to get into that in just a little bit. So I've just created another Discord role called Booster. I'm going to copy that role ID like that, and I'm going to go back over to my configuration file, and I'm going to put that in there. Syncing Steam names to Discord. I kind of like that they put that functionality in there. However, I do know that a lot of players don't like having their in-game name the same as their Discord name. So forcing that upon them, I don't know. The functionality is there. I'm going to leave it at false. But if you wanted to force their Discord name to match their in-game name, you would of course change that to true. And then of course, last but not least, we need to input the server information. So the server IP address, the Archon port, the Archon password. So mine will look something like this. No, my password is not going to stay this way. So if you want to try to hack into my Archon, you won't be able to, because I will have changed that password by now. And that's essentially all we have to do for the bot to actually be functional. So we're just going to save this, and we're not going to fire this bot up just yet. But if we were ready to, this would be the time to do it, and we would just click on start right here. So the one thing that I haven't actually done yet is invited the bot from the Discord developer portal into my actual physical Discord server. I'm going to do that off screen because you all don't need to watch that again. You've already watched that section of the video. And there you go. As you can see over my right shoulder, which looks like my left shoulder to you, is the link bot, which is not online right now because we haven't actually turned it on yet. So the next thing we need to do is we actually need to install the plugin that came from that initial file that we downloaded from codefling.com. And this file is going to be called discordlink.cs, indicating that it's an actual plugin. So we're going to drag and drop that into our plugins folder on our Rust server. If you're using Oxide, you'll know where that's going to be. If you're using Carbon, of course, that's going to be in a different location, but you should know where that is as well. And once the plugin actually compiles, it's going to ask us for a bunch of information. Okay, I actually deleted my configuration file so that it was default, so that you'll be seeing exactly what I'm seeing right now. So at the very top there, we have to define what role in our Rust server a player is going to get after they've been linked together, as well as which Discord role they're going to get because of the same thing. So it basically monitors those two things happening in your Discord server as well as your Rust server. As soon as somebody is linked together, they get both of those roles. Now, I always insist on doing everything with BetterChat. So my groups are always controlled using BetterChat. That's literally the first plugin that I ever install on any server that I ever build. So I do everything with BetterChat groups. However, I'm told that Oxide groups and BetterChat groups are the same thing. I don't believe that, because I've actually seen issues where you have an Oxide group and a BetterChat group and you apply a permission over here and it doesn't work over here. So take that with a grain of salt, but I firmly believe that everyone should be using BetterChat no matter what. So I just created a BetterChat group called Linked, and I'm going to bring that over to my Discord linked plugin configuration file, and I'm going to put that right here, linked. And then I'm also going to grab the role ID that I want my players to have once they've linked their two things together. So let's go over to our Discord server settings, roles, and let's grab that linked role again, right click, copy role ID, boom. And let's just pasta that in right there where it says Discord role ID. Now we need our Steam API key again. Now, obviously you just got it before when we were filling in the configuration file for the bot itself. Now we just need to paste that same information over here. And of course, now that I have my Steam API key on this configuration file, I'm going to do my very best to make sure that I don't show it on screen. All right, the rest of this configuration file is basically how we want the plugin to actually function in our Rust server. The very first option there is, do we want to use the UI? And this is something really important that I hadn't thought of before, but on a community server, you can't have UIs on a community server. So therefore, we have the ability to turn that off if we were using this functionality on a community server. For this example, we're going to leave that set at true. And then of course, we've got all of the functionalities, the cooldown timers, the commands that we want to be able to use, etc., etc. You can define all of that stuff in this configuration file. And the rest of this is basically just configuring the colors and how everything looks on the UI itself. So I don't mean to glaze over this section because it is very important for customization reasons, but you can go in and play with that and figure out what works for you and what doesn't. The one line that I will bring your attention to is line 18, where you do want to put in your Discord invite link, because that does actually get displayed on the UI, which you're going to see in a couple of minutes here. And then once we have all that information, we can save this configuration file, go back over to our console, make sure we reload the plugin so that it updates all of these changes that we've now made. Now that we've done all of those different steps, we've now configured our bot on botreaper.com or icetoast.com or your local host or wherever you've decided to host your bot at. We've set up our Discord bot on the Discord developer portal. We've invited that bot to our Discord server. We've installed the plugin that's required to make this all work and gone through and made the changes on everything to make it function the way that we think we want it to. So let's just go ahead and start up our Discord bot. Click start, and it'll tell you that it's actually connected to the server that we wanted it to. Should be good to go. And having a look at our actual Discord, you can see that the bot that was offline a couple of minutes ago is now online and actually doing something. Plus it actually displayed this panel right here, giving our players all of the information that they need in order to link their Steam with our brand new Discord server. So now in game, we can go in chat, we can do /link. It's going to bring up the UI that we were talking about a couple minutes ago. It's going to give the address for the Discord server that the player needs to join in order to actually complete this linking process. We're going to click on generate code. We're going to go back over to the Discord server into the linking channel where we need to go. We're going to punch that code in, and of course it responds letting us know that we've successfully linked our Steam ID with this Discord server. And just to prove that that's actually the case, let's look at my card from Discord, and you can see here now it says linked down there where it didn't before. It just had the owner role there before. Now it has the linked role. And of course now if we go in game and type in chat, it should say linked next to my name, because now I'm a part of that linked user group inside the Rust server. All right, so now that I have those two IDs linked together, what are we going to do with that information? Well, there's actually a lot of things that we can do. Let's say you want to add quality of life improvements to players that are a part of your Discord, or let's say you want to grant them access to a specific kit that you've designed. All of those things you can do by simply applying the permission to that linked user group. So this is actually a bad example because this is just my test server. Here, let's do this as an example. Let's say on my specific server, after you've linked your Discord ID with your Steam ID in my server, you would then have access to tier 1 blueprints. So we can just simply go into the permissions manager for the group called Discord linked. Actually, I think it was linked, not Discord linked. And let's go into blueprint manager, and then we can grant blueprint workbench level 1 to anybody that is a part of that group. And you can do the same thing with kits. You could set up a different section in your end teleportation. You can give players more homes or shorter cooldown times, or like there's just a ton of different things that you can do with this to make it worthwhile for the player to join your Discord and link the two accounts together. So it gives them perks in game and it helps build your Discord community. Everybody wins. So what if you happen to have more than one server? You wanted to have the ability to link multiple different servers to the same Discord and have the same functionality. Well, this one bot can do all of the different servers that you needed to take care of. If we go back to our configuration file on our bot host, you can see this section down here where we put in our server information. Again, I'm going to remind you that this is not actually my Archon password, so don't try to hack into my server. Anyways, all we would need to do is copy this entire section right here. Let's put a comma after that line right there and just post that in place. And then we can add in another server's information in there. And then your players, it doesn't matter which server they go to, they can still link together, and you can have different benefits in each one of those servers. It all depends on how you set up your permissions for each individual server. Now, one thing that I didn't check on for sure is whether you have to have your Better Chat group or your Oxide group created before you could define it inside the configuration file for the plugin itself. So because I didn't test it, let's just assume that that's the case, and you would want to create that user group first before you define it in the plugin, in case we're sending that plugin off looking for a user group that doesn't exist yet. And because I haven't shown it to you yet, I wanted to show you what the log would actually look like after somebody linked their two accounts together. And as you can see here, this is the information that gets displayed in your log channel. And of course, you don't have to display that log publicly. You can put that behind a staff permission or a moderator permission, whatever. That doesn't have to be public information. However, the linking channel definitely does. You want your players to be able to come in and see this information and have the instructions on how to link their two IDs together. All right, I know this video turned into a relatively long video, but I did want to show you every single step along the way. I'm going to do my very best to chapter this video out properly so that if you need to come back and check over sections, it should be pretty easy to find what you need to know. If you want to check out another one of Amino's awesome creations, you're definitely going to want to check out this video on the left-hand side of your screen. That is Ultimate Archon Plus. And if you've decided that I've earned your subscription, you can click on that button over there. And of course, if you want to help out the channel, you can click on the Patreon link right below me right now and buy me a coffee or something like that, whatever you feel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.